Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tyson Hockley Show. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the launch of my new website, the trucker protests going on all over Canada, Russia and Ukraine, and many more topics coming up on this episode. You're going to want to stay tuned to the very end. Alright, so thank you all very much for joining me here today for, I believe, my 7th episode of this podcast. I could be wrong. This is the Tyson Hockley Show. This is going to be the first episode that I upload to my main YouTube channel. So usually I just upload these episodes to the Tyson Hockley Show separate channel on YouTube and, of course, Spotify and other platforms. But to spread more awareness about my podcast, I'm going to be uploading this to my podcast channel and also my main YouTube channel so that this episode reaches a wider audience of people. But I want to briefly touch on the launch of my new website. So I do not have a domain yet. I'm looking at getting something like tysonhockley.com. I do not have that yet. But I will be putting a link in the description where you could go check out my website. And when I do decide to make merch one day, because I do plan on it, I will sell my merch directly from my website, which will be really handy to have. But I also have my podcast embedded on my website. So if you ever want to listen to a new episode, you can go to Spotify, go to YouTube, or you can go to my website and listen to my podcast, which I thought was really cool. I also have a blog on my website, which is kind of like the community tab that I have on YouTube, but like a blog. So kind of the same idea. So I'll be keeping you guys updated with my blog and stuff like that. I also have a videos tab, which has like some of my YouTube videos, and I'm going to be offering promotion on the videos tab. So I will have something where you could contact me if you want your video to be embedded on my website in the videos tab, and you'll have to pay like a certain amount for a certain time with your video embedded. Of course, this after my website starts getting more traffic, because it's still new and I have not promoted it at all. This is my first time talking about my website. But I just want to briefly talk about that. There's going to be a link, like first link in the description probably, where you could click and it'll send you directly to my website. It looks better on computer, like there's more space, but it does load on the phone as well. And it's kind of cool. It's nice having my own website. I'm going to have to buy a domain for that though soon as I start getting more traffic to it and as it starts becoming like a more serious thing. I want my website though to kind of be like my main platform, because anything could happen with YouTube. YouTube at any moment can decide that they want to take me off for whatever reason, and same with any other platforms. So that's why it's very important that you come to my website, check it out. If anything were to ever happen, my website would be my main platform for talking to you guys. So yeah, there's a link down below to that. I probably said the word website like a million times. But I just wanted to inform you guys that I do now have my own site. And a link in the description. Alright, so now I'm gonna briefly talk about the trucker protest going around Canada. So I want to keep it as non-biased on my channel as possible. I neither support the convoy or don't support the convoy. I am simply here to provide live coverage of the convoy. I know a lot of the people who subscribe to me are interested in seeing the convoy, and it is my job to document it live for you guys with no external agenda behind it. A lot of the media nowadays, in both sides, I just dropped a coin. But a lot of the media nowadays in both sides is tailored to a certain agenda, and that is not the case on my channel and on my show. I am just simply here to go to those protests and live stream them so you guys know what's going on. There's no editing to fit a certain agenda because it is all done live. So I don't take anything out of context. You guys are seeing exactly what is happening play out right before your eyes live when I go to these protests. But I want to talk about tomorrow, March 5th, Saturday. Want to say the date in case you guys are listening on a playback of this episode. But if you're listening the day that this was released, then it is tomorrow, March 5th. There's supposed to be a big protest downtown Victoria, BC. I'm going to be there from 1 to 4 to live stream. It'd be nice to see you pop by. I have a lot of fun doing these live streams every week and talking with you guys. Um and yeah, I just have a lot of fun documenting it, and I feel like an independent journalist, which I have a lot of fun doing it and feeling like a journalist. And in a way I kind of am, cuz I am documenting a big event that's going on right now in my city for people to watch and have an understanding, a better understanding hopefully of what is going on. So again, tomorrow from I'll probably be there at like 12:30, and it goes to 4, I think. March 5th, Saturday, tomorrow, Victoria, BC. I'm going to be documenting it all on my YouTube channel, so make sure to stop by, check that out. I also want to say a huge thank you to everybody for donating on my streams. I just bought myself a gimbal, which stabilizes the image better, which will make the stream a lot more high quality. So all the donations I get from you guys gets reinvested into my YouTube channel, for equipment and for ads to promote it. So thank you very much to everybody who has donated to me and my channel over the past weeks. I appreciate that a lot. In the next segment of this podcast, I'm going to be briefly covering Russia and Ukraine. I'm not going to go super deep into it, but I'm going to be talking about it a little, and that'll wrap up this podcast. So be sure to stay tuned. All right, so I just want to briefly touch on the Russia and Ukraine events happening. I feel like it wouldn't really be a news report if I weren't to at least talk about it. And like I said, I try to make my channel a little bit like news reports. So let's talk about it a little bit. So obviously very devastating what is going on. My heart goes out to everybody who lives in Ukraine or has family who lives in Ukraine. That's just terrible. Of course everybody has different opinions. I see a lot of different opinions in my comment boxes or my comment box. Um giving their own personal takes on it. That's why I'm not going to give my personal take on it really, besides the fact that it's obviously terrible to see. But a lot of people have different opinions about it. I don't have too much to say. Of course, as more information comes out, I'm going to be discussing it more. I will probably make a whole episode dedicated to covering it as I get more information. To be absolutely honest, I have not been covering it, or I have not been looking at the information that's coming out that intently. I've not been following along really. I have of course posted some clips to my YouTube channel of some footage taken in Ukraine. Um, but that's kind of my understanding of it, is Russia is invading Ukraine. I don't really have an opinion on it though. Of course, like I said, as I get more information and as I kind of get more invested in it, I will be making probably a full episode discussing it, going into deep conversation about it. But I just want to briefly touch because I feel like this not would not be a news report with at least not mentioning Ukraine. So I feel like if unless you're living under a rock, you know about the whole Ukraine situation. So, but for those who might be living under a rock, basically Russia is currently invading Ukraine right now. They're sending in troops and completely overpowering them. Like it's not even gonna be close. Um, I've heard that the Russian military has like 2 million people, and Ukraine has 200,000 people in their military. So it's not even gonna be close, which is of course sad to see. But to fill anybody in who has not yet heard of this for whatever reason, because I know that there's some people who just don't watch the news who follow me, just because they've lied so many times in the past and they just don't watch them anymore. But I feel like most people have heard about this. So, yeah, I just want to touch on that quickly. This is kind of going to wrap up the podcast. Thank you very much for everybody for listening to this again tomorrow, Saturday, March 5th. I will be downtown at the BC Legislative Building to live stream the protests going on, the trucker protests. I'm sure everybody knows about that too, follows me. Um, but yeah, I guess that kind of wraps up this episode. Again, this is going to be my first and probably only episode of the podcast that I release on my main YouTube channel. If you want to see all the other episodes and future episodes, visit my website, link in the description, or just search up the Tyson Hockley Show on YouTube, Spotify, or pretty much wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'm not on Apple yet, but I will probably be on Apple soon. So yeah, pretty much wherever you listen to podcasts, I will be there. So look up the Tyson Hockley Show, and I should pop up. Thank you guys so much for listening. Again, remember to subscribe, hit that bell notification, and subscribe to the Tyson Hockley Show on YouTube. I have my own separate channel. I think I will put a link in the description of this episode if I don't forget. Thank you all of you around the world who listen to this. Thank you. Appreciate all your support, and I appreciate all the donations you guys have been making recently. That helps fund my channel and fund equipment. Thank you for watching. This has been the Tyson Hockley Show, and I will see you in the next one. Signing off.